Hey there, I am Mish, and this is James. Uh, James is my grandson. Anyway, we are Trekkies, and this is a year of Trek. So we are back after a couple days off, and well, I was at a seminar in Indiana, and I had planned. I actually wanted to do some podcasts every day, but super slammed with training and just hanging out with people. It just didn't get there. I did get to watch Star Trek though, because I was on a plane each way for hours. So, so this is how we're going to do this. Is that this is day 21. We're just going to talk about today's episodes, mainly because I got little man here, and then we will actually go back and talk about previous episodes later. Okay, so what is on the docket today? So, our first episode is Obsession, and this is Stardate 3619.2. Obsession, I forgot about Obsession, really. I don't know if it was because I thought it was a bad episode or what, but it was one of those where I was trying to think, what is this episode about? I couldn't remember. And so then I sat down and watched it. And I was like, oh, now I remember. This is one of those episodes you just don't sit and watch anymore. It's not bad. It escalated extremely quickly when it came to adding red shirts to the number of people dying. I really like. Now I've been kind of keeping track of Mr. Wesley, our resident all-time security officer, and my first reaction was like, oh, because he even calls him out, and of course you recognize the actor. It's like, oh, there's Mr. Wesley. And then I spoke too soon because boom, right out the gate, 3 security down for the count. Now, initially, 2 of them die. Unfortunately, Mr. Wesley was one of those. And then Ensign Risto, he was the other one. He actually lived long enough to kind of confirm Kirk's suspicions that it was this cloud that smelled like pineapple that killed half of the Farragut crew 11 years earlier. So we meet, and then of course, Kirk goes down there, and we lose more security. So we lose, was it Ensign Bardoni, or did we lose a security that I have them? I think this one's unnamed. He did name Ensign Bardoni. We meet Ensign Garavik. He is also security, but he is the son of the captain of the Farragut that Kirk served under. So Kirk kind of saw, we learned that Kirk kind of saw Captain Garavik as a mentor, kind of, because, he was a young lieutenant, and he felt guilty that he got half the ship, half the crew done. And of course, it mirrors the story that Garavik is also, Kirk is really hard on him because he could have acted quicker. And I did ask the question, how come security reacts so slowly? They always just stand there. Like, I think, like, I don't know. Starfleet's been around for a long time, even, and it's not established in the original series, but of course, in Enterprise, you got the Makos, and I would assume that the Makos kind of then became the Starfleet security. You would think, are you making noises? You're making burpa noises. You would think that they would be better trained. I don't know. I get you're seeing something for the first time. We all have, as a safety skills instructor, I get it. We all have levels of, everybody freezes. It's just training to freeze not as long in a real situation. So let's see. So the behind the scenes thing of the Yorktown, them getting together with the Yorktown and picking up vaccines so they could take it to a certain planet. See, he's yawning. He just slept for like 3 hours. Why couldn't the Yorktown take the vaccine? I don't know. I don't understand that part. All right, so time frame. Apparently, this originally, like the original event with Kirk and the pineapple monster, or the honey monster, or whatever. Honey cloud, we'll call it honey cloud. It happened 11 years earlier, and so this is season 2. Kirk is what, 35, 36 years old by now, and so that would make him about 24, 25 back then. So he was a young lieutenant. Now it says Captain Garevik was his first command, fresh from the time he left the academy. Now, was this after he was teaching at the academy, or was that like, or did he graduate from the academy and then went out into deep space, and then basically when he killed half the crew on the Farragut, he went back to the academy to teach because he wasn't ready to go back into space. I don't know the timeline there. I'm sure there are some super Star Trek fan out there that knows it. So if you are watching this and you know the answer, put it in the comments. I'd love to hear. Let's see. Now, of course, they figure out, they figure out how to kill this space cloud and or this honey cloud. We end up with 5 crewmen dead total. We end up with 5 crewmen dead, and 4 of them are red shirts. So the red shirts totally take over our list of ongoing deaths. So I can totally see why the trope. See, now he's chewing on my thumb. I can see why the trope is totally there, because the further we get on into the series, more and more red shirts die, as opposed to the gold and blue. Okay. This was actually not a bad episode. I don't know why I forgot it. I thought that, it was a good message that, you have this tormented captain, and it's mirrored, and he's taking it out on this other person, and they finally realize, and they have the inspirational Star Trek music in the background. So I thought that was, it wasn't bad. I actually kind of enjoyed it. I did. All right. On to our next episode, Wolf in the Fold. This is the one where Scotty gets blamed for killing women. Stardate 3614.9. It opens, and basically Scotty, Kirk, and McCoy are at a bar on some planet, and they kind of insinuate that pretty much all the women there are like, the whole culture is to make other people happy. And of course, they set this thing that, because a woman had created some type of explosion in the engine room, and it injured Scotty, that he had something against women, or they were basically trying to get him to get over his not trusting women because a woman. Yeah, I don't know. It's the 60s. I thought it was kind of dumb too. But this is how I kind of summarized it. I said, to get someone over the fact of, I can't even read my own handwriting. To get someone over the fact of an accident, that an accident was caused by a woman, you go and get them laid. That's essentially what they're doing. That's the whole setup. And then And then, of course, Scotty's like, ooh, I think I'm going to take you for a walk in the fog. And, well, the girl dies. Oh, darn. And then, of course, you know, it focuses up on a couple different characters, specifically one guy who's sitting in the audience. And when I was watching this, I was like, how was he involved? I couldn't remember how he's involved. And, of course, we realize that he is the fiance to the dancer. So if he's the fiance to the dancer and she's going out screwing the clientele, God, that guy must be messed up in the head. I mean, it's like the guys that date strippers and then get jealous because they're stripping for other guys and then, you know, making a little bit of money on the side. Are you tooting? He's tooting. Oh my gosh. There's just a rumbling down there. Now, of course, the guy actually gets accused of being jealous, but anyway. Let's see. Oh, okay. So when the nerdy little dude that is actually Jack the Ripper, because it's the spirit of Jack the Ripper, or the spirit that was the persona of Jack the Ripper way long ago, because it's an entity that's been around for a long time. This is my note. Shouldn't the evidence be handled with a little bit more care than holding it with their bare hands? I mean, he insinuated that that Scotty already, like, he had already done whatever that had and it only had Scotty's fingerprints on it. So okay, that's fine, but you still keep it sealed. Like, I would think that you wouldn't want to get your grubby little fingers all over it. And there could also be, because he is actually the killer, or at least he is the embodiment of the killer, that maybe he was having his fingerprints on there. So if they reran it, if he actually did it, but it insinuated that basically the whatever spirit of this evil creature took over Scotty so he could perform the murders. Let's see. Let's see. Now, they bring down Lieutenant Tracy, this little blonde, in to do some stuff. It was like, oh, you're making me tired. We're almost done. Okay. So anyway, this gal, blue shirt, Lieutenant Tracy, she comes down to do whatever she's going to do with, basically figure out. Yeah, you got your own input? You didn't even watch the episode. You were sleeping. Actually, you weren't. I don't even know what you were doing. I watched it at work. So we had basically was going to see if Scotty was telling the truth or not. That was the whole point of her coming down. So of course they put her and Scotty in a different room, and she dies. Now, I thought that this was funny that, McCoy runs in, he goes, "She's dead, Jim." And Kirk gets down on his knee and he goes, "Stabbed a dozen times." But I found it humorous because you're supposed to think that they're looking at her when she says this, but they're trying to get it on camera. So they're actually, like, where her body would be here, they're looking over here. And it was kind of obvious. And it was almost one of those dun, dun, dun type of moments, because they're staring at the camera. "Oh, she's dead, Jim. Yes, she's been stabbed 12 or a dozen times." Yeah. Yeah. Really? Here. What do you here? Why don't you sit up here so you can be a little bit more here, and we'll. Oh, I guess that didn't work. There we go. You can stand. Oh, we'll stand here. There we go. Now you're more on camera. You want to talk? Huh? Okay. Now they actually, so Spock at some point says that there are nearly 444 crewmen on the Enterprise. 440. Nearly. So does nearly 440 mean 430? I don't know. So and then I have another note that says he talks to Gloomy. I don't know what that was. I don't know why I said I like this episode. This episode's kind of boring and kind of stupid. I didn't like the little twerp, the one who ends up being the evil genius or the evil killer. But yeah, not a fan of this episode. Now, I'm going to put you back over here. You work better on that leg. We're going to have to figure out a way so you can take part in this. Should we here? Can you sit on the table? No, you're off camera. Oh well. Oops. So now in the previous episode, we're down to our crew counts. We had 428. Yes, I know. So we lost how many? Hold on a second. We lost 5. So now we're down to 428, 423. So now we're down to 423 crew members. But Spock says that there are nearly 440 crewmen aboard. So yeah, I know. So what I'm thinking is that we're just going to change this to 439 because 440, and of course we lost Lieutenant Taylor, or what's her name? Whatever her name is, I don't know. The grease board. So our new number is 439. So it has gone up because we've added more crew members, but we did lose one in the second episode of today. So I still need to hang that up. I know I've been really bad about that. I know I suck. Lieutenant Tracy. That's who it is. Okay, so what are we watching tomorrow? I know, we're almost finished. And then I'll get you a bottle and everything. Okay, so tomorrow we have the trouble with Tribbles and the gamesters of Triskelion. Is that what it is? Triskelion. I'm doing the talking. Here, want a bottle? Okay. So the trouble with Tribbles and the gamesters of Triskelion. So we have a really famous episode that we'll be talking about, or not really famous. I would say more well liked. More people know about Tribbles than that meme of Kirk who thinks he wants is thinking about wanting baked potatoes. Anyway, I'll bring that up tomorrow. So we'll be back tomorrow. We'll be talking about 2 more episodes. And until then, and since I got to use 2 hands, I can't keep this up and the broadcast at the same time. So thank you for tuning in. This is James. Oh yeah, James. James is named after my son, whose middle name is James. But my son is named after Kirk. Just saying. I couldn't get like Kirk. It had to be like a more legit name. So, but little man, he is the James. So, from James and me, live long and prosper and we will see you. Well, I'll see you tomorrow.